Jumbo, fellow adventurer. Today, a very special podcast installation. As you may know, at tut.com, I host an Infinite Possibilities membership. And one of the many perks is that every Tuesday morning, I deliver a 30-minute long mini manifesting workshop. I've gone through the archives and chosen this one for you today. Jumbo, fellow Infinite Possibility members, great to be with you. This is our weekly mini manifesting workshop, but it is falling on the 5th Tuesday of a month. That there's only 5 months of the year that have 5 Tuesdays. They used to be dedicated to member questions and answers about anything under the sun. But because I do a daily Q&A broadcast on Facebook and Instagram that comprise a weekly drop of my new podcast as well, I thought, there might be a better way to do this. Every day now, I answer Infinite Possibility member questions during my live broadcast. And if I pick your question, you will be notified. So you don't have to hang around every morning for the live broadcast as I answer other people's questions. And that has freed up this 5th Tuesday of the month for me to do what I've done a few times in the past, a life wake-up call, where I hang out with a person, in this case, an Infinite Possibilities member, for 10, 15, 20, 30 minutes and answer some questions, typical questions about, living deliberately, creating consciously, tackling a challenge, dealing with a fear, resistance, anxiety, whatever may come up. Normally, I've only done these during certain promotions. It's kind of been like, your name will go into a drawing and you might be one of 3 people who get a life wake-up call with Mike Dooley. So we've never done it as a kind of an ongoing service in any capacity. But we thought it would be fun to give it a shot. I have no idea what's going to happen today. I do know that there were several contestants, members who volunteered graciously to air their laundry on this live broadcast, where it may live in perpetuity. Now, if we ever do one of these and you're picked and it's something you don't want floating around, we will nix it and we'll take it down. We won't do it. So, I want that to be really clear. But today, Mel was the person whose questions have been picked that would have the most appeal to everyone else. Mel, are you in the house?
Yes. Hi, Mike. Good morning.
Oh, Mel, it's a pleasure. Where are you beaming in from right now?
Oh, I live in Minnesota right now.
Minnesota, where the sun shines bright, right, throughout the winter. Oh my
It's
God.
a very bright 20 degrees today, I think.
Oh, well, you're doing pretty good as Minnesota goes, from what I understand.
Yep.
If you're not in the United States, Minnesota is one of the coldest places in the country. And so, Mel, you look like you're keeping warm, and I'm glad to be with you. Thanks for your interest, your membership. Let's right now it's 10:04 Eastern time. So 15, 20, even longer if it serves. But everybody, as we have always done at the end of a 5th Tuesday, for those who want to, we'll do breakout sessions. I mean, it may follow perfectly from our conversation, or maybe it's not what you want to do after this life wake-up call. It'll be your call. It'll be your decision. So when Mel and I are done, I will announce that we are done. Regina will take over, and you guys can have 5 or 10 minute breakout sessions, and you get to meet a few Infinite Possibility members. Okay, Mel, I have dragged this on. You are very patient. So share a little bit about your background, or maybe give us some context for the questions that are about to follow.
Sure, I'd love to. I am in my mid 40s and I have one child. He's 22 and he just moved to Chicago. So I have said his whole life, as soon as he's an adult and on his own, I'm leaving here. I don't like it here very much. And I don't have much holding me here, especially now that he's gone. So I'm at a big crossroads where, with remote work, I could live anywhere pretty much as long as I have internet and do anything I want.
Mm-hmm.
Prior to COVID, I was actually acting professionally and I would like to continue acting. And that's another thing. I don't see much of a future here for that. So.
You mean as an actress?
Yes.
Oh, okay. As opposed to childish.
Right. So that's
Okay.
a little bit of my background. I'm just kind of at a big point where I can do anything I want to do and go anywhere I want to go. And I have no idea how to make that decision.
Okay. So
it's too many choices.
okay. Too many choices. Oh, that's a problem that's a good problem, really.
Sure.
To help you narrow it down, what I might suggest is not fall into the trap of thinking that there is the ideal answer. That's just you're not quite sure what it is, but there's the ideal answer, and all other answers would be comparatively less fulfilling. There is probably, well, I could say almost certainly, given the magic of reality, no wrong choice you could make right now. There's absolutely none, because if a path before you was somehow less than optimal, it would autocorrect and lead you back onto a path that was optimal, which means there's no path that's not optimal. Now, granted, you're not just gonna, flip a quarter, flip a coin, although even that would probably work. As long as you're in motion, with a vision of, I want to, I would write down your values right now, write down your intentions. You're at a crossroads right now. You would like to be creatively fulfilled, maybe dabble in acting, but that's not something you're insisting on. You would like it to be financially rewarding. I assume that that's a component of that. You'd like it to, engage all of your senses and land you in a place that you love living.
Yes.
And with that little bit, then you can imagine a smile stretching across your face. You can imagine talking to your son or somebody else. Like, it has been the most amazing 6 months, and there's just no end in sight. I mean, every day something else clicks, and I just can't believe my life. Oh, hold on, it's the president calling. Just imagine just joy and your check boxes, just like abundance, warm weather, if that's what you care about, near family, making new friends, creatively fulfilled. You don't have to say what you're doing. You don't have to say where you're living. If something's drawing you towards Florida and that feels kind of good, well, then go. You're not closing doors to anywhere else. If something draws you towards acting or another realm within the acting profession, maybe teacher, maybe professor, maybe whatever, then go there. Don't close any other doors. And if you have that vision of joy, completeness, prosperity, a smile across your face, the universe, divine intelligence, your greater self is like, I know how to do that, Mel. I know you, Mel, like I know me. And I know where the trajectory of 8 billion other human beings are going. I know that if I put you here, we can connect with them. If I put you there, depending on your whims or your inclinations or the intuition you feel, there is no wrong way. It's like you're driving in your car, GPS navigation, my metaphor. And you're like, look, I'm not at a 4-way intersection. I'm at a 14-way intersection. And anybody would be like, which one should I pick? It's like they all tie into A1A, every single one of them. And A1A is joy, happiness, creative fulfillment, your check boxes that we just talked about. So the only mistake you could make is kind of being paralyzed into a place of not taking action and or not making a choice. I mean, even where you're at now has the ability, so long as you dream and have your antennas up, to self-correct and put you on a path where those check boxes are met. So there is not one right answer. And even though you don't know what to do, put your car in gear and start doing stuff, whether it's an internet search, whether it's neighborhoods in San Diego, whether it's, maybe Chicago near your son, if that would be a win-win for everybody. Test it out, go temporarily, do an Airbnb, rent your home. I mean, there are infinite possibilities. Just know what your check boxes are. Be open to how they show up. And in the meantime, just do stuff that makes some kind of intuitive and or logical sense. You will not be led astray. Does that help a little bit?
That does help. It is being an infinite possibilities member. It just can be kind of hard to narrow down infinite possibilities to one thing.
Yeah.
One thing.
Don't look at it like
at
you're
any
narrowing
given time.
it.
But just like you said, you're turning your car. You can always end up in a different direction. It's not a permanent choice.
Right.
That's a really good way to think about it. Thank
you. I wouldn't look at it as like you've got to pick. You're just going to be dabbling in the sandbox, and you're going to pick up one shovel and one bucket, and the others are still there. It's like, the universe will pick, and the universe will pick when you give it dots to connect. And that is through your curiosity, your web searches, you reaching out and asking an employer or the like.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What else along those lines, or any other lines?
Oh, yeah, I did have other questions. Hold on. Right. So I have a lot of people in my life who are very negative. You had actually answered one of my quick questions about cutting people out of my life, which I absolutely loved. Because you're right. I was angry. And cutting someone out of your life is a very interesting choice of words, right? It's a definite choice of words.
Spiritual tune-up. Okay, good. I'm glad.
But I really do. I deal with a lot of negativity from my family, and I don't want to not speak to my family or anything. We don't have a bad relationship that, they basically accept me and things like that, but they generally don't accept what I want to do or just anything that is non-traditional, which is almost everything I do, either my job or, acting, or my son is in film school, and, there's still plenty of people in our family who think he should train for something. When that doesn't work out, then he'll have a job. So it's really hard for me to deal with. And I don't know how to respond to it. I don't know if I should just talk to them less, or because it's going to come up. Say I move to Chicago, my spouse and I move to Chicago, and then they'll say, well, why do you want to move so far away? Why do you want to do that? Why do you want to invest in real estate where real estate is more expensive? And, it's just, they want to be helpful. They're trying to be helpful by helping me see everything that could go wrong. But I need that kind of help. Okay. That's how they view it, though. They view it as they're helping me. They're helping me see everything that could possibly go badly.
It's good that you see that part of it, because, it's nice to be comforted by, they're not trying to sabotage you. They really love you. And what I would want to impart to you is to lose the notion, if you have it, that you're somehow vulnerable to their negativity, because you're not vulnerable. They could go on and on all day long, and you can find your peace and you can find your happiness. You've got your partner, you've got your son, you've got your creativity, you've got infinite options right now. And you're okay. Sometimes when we find that we have tricky, challenging family members, I really do believe it's part of the life choice to be in a realm where they're able to poke us, we're able to learn of the areas where we can better believe in ourselves. It's like, it's not by chance that they love you, but they're poking you at the same time. The loving part is keeping them in your realm. And the poking part is asking you to find the metal, if you will, to believe in yourself. Because you got this, and you know what you want, and you know what's going to serve you. And while you might not make the flawless decision every time on the surface, it will be the flawless decision every time for the lessons gained. And so it's time to kind of cut the cord of needing or wanting them to be in agreement with you and see things your way. And this is the gift they're bringing to you at this stage of their life and your life. And it's not such a matter of like, I'm positive, you're negative, adios. It's a matter of like, we see things differently, and I have room for that. And I love you so much. Thanks for caring about me. And then focus on the things that very likely that you love about them. The fact that they love you is pretty lovable. The fact that they love your son is pretty lovable. That they crack you up every now and then, and they put up with you sometimes, because maybe you are out there, way out there, with rainbows and unicorns in the world they come from. So just love that part of them and not feel like that they can rain on your parade. And sometimes, this was also in a spiritual tune-up recently, sometimes the things that people tell us that really bother us are things that, well, they're always things we needed to hear. Not necessarily because they're right, but because we needed to stand up on our own, because we needed to kind of not lean on them, or maybe because they do have a point to make, maybe. And this is the joy, or better, the challenge of having to handle criticism, constructive criticism. I quoted the Bible when I spoke to this, I think a week ago. I think it's something that, and I'm not, this is how I remember it. The unwise hate criticism. The wise embrace it. Because, as I wrote in a note from the universe 20 years ago, never has a word been uttered that didn't have profound meaning to those who heard it. Not because it was right. Maybe it was right. Maybe it wasn't right. But it's going to give you something to kind of have traction with as you come to understand yourself better. And sometimes that criticism does not apply to you, but you're not convinced of that yet. So you hear it again until you realize it is not you. It is so not you. And other times, it might be the toilet paper that you're dragging around the airport on the heel of your shoe, and because we don't see everything at this primitive juncture, it's really nice of that stranger to point out that you're dragging toilet paper around the airport on the heel of your shoe, even though in the moment of finding out, you'd like to strangle them because otherwise you were ignorantly blissful. So, that's kind of how I would handle dealing with tricky family members, if that might help you. What else, Mel?
Well, I think you've already answered my other question, but I'm going to bring it up anyway. I just started a temporary position that I really like, and I'd like to stay there, and I'd like it to be more permanent. I know nothing's permanent, but I have set up at my desk that you said once during one of our workshops here, baby steps. You take one step and the universe takes 10,000. And so I feel like this is in that net also, where I'm there. I just need to do my best, and I feel like it'll work out one way or another. I don't know if there's if you can give me any advice on how to,
stay
there.
Yeah, sure.
Or what? Yeah.
Well, that's cool that while you have all these infinite possibilities in front of you, you've got this temporary gig that suddenly is lighting you up and checking off some boxes. That's not chance. You're doing a lot right. And when we give ourselves credit for what perhaps wasn't obvious to us that could be obvious to us. We realize we're not alone, we're guided, things are working out. I would make it clear in my own mind that this is something I really like, and I would like it or better. So we're not gonna, it might be the perfect thing to kind of take you by the hand into a higher realm exactly as it is, or it might be the perfect thing to prepare you for something even better that's 2 months or 2 years away. So we're not going to attach to it, but just in your own mind, in your own clarity, like, this is a great thing, this or better, more of the same. Thank you, thank you, thank you, universe. Get really clear with the metaphysical conversations. Then physically, I'd be early, I'd stay late, 5 minutes either way. You're going to be the person that is so dependable. I'd be cheery, I'd be constructive. I would do my best to sense when I should hold my tongue, and do my best to sense when I should interject and be, exceed expectations. And I certainly would look for the feeling of the right time to express to those involved, like, tell them, I've really enjoyed this. It's exceeded my own expectations. If there's an opportunity for me to stay, they say in sales, we used to sell t-shirts, my brother, mother, and I. So we read a few sales books, and they would say, one of the biggest omissions by a salesperson is not asking for the sale. They buddy, they connect at a soul level, they chit chat, and then the person just kind of, has to go to dinner finally and leaves. But did you ask for the sale? Did you say, I would really love to be able to help you find a solution to this problem, and I think this product is it. How about we give it a shot? How about you test it out? Ask for the sale. So don't let the opportunity go by. Don't think the universe is going to do it on its own. Be sure to verbalize, maybe write a letter. If your immediate supervisor isn't the person, send it to, 2 supervisors up and CC everybody, or not. But I would let the universe know. I would see myself happy. I would expect this or better. And then whatever happens, no, it's or better. I mean, it might end and it would seem like you were not heard. But 2.5 weeks later, 2.5 months later, all of a sudden, it's just like game on, new orbit. They either called you back or somebody else called you back. It's always working out on your behalf. Always. Anytime we lose faith in that, we start closing doors that didn't need to be closed. So you're on your way. It's totally worked out. It's going to continue working out no matter what your physical senses say, no matter what your supervisors say. Do your part so the universe can do her part. Take one step a day in gratitude, expressing desires. And I think this is evidence that you're doing everything right.
Okay. It's so hard to remember that when things seem to not be working out.
Well,
my best.
If it was any easier, it wouldn't be any fun.
Right.
Well, if you have a quickie, I'll answer it, or we'll turn it over to Regina and we'll do some breakouts and people can share their takeaways, their own questions with their group. How do you feel, Mel?
I think that's everything I wanted to ask.
Well, it was an honor. Thanks for being the very first life wake-up call that we broadcasted live on multiple continents. I don't know how many, but probably all of them except Antarctica. Well, that wraps it up. I hope you enjoyed what may have been your first ever mini manifesting workshop. If you enjoyed it, you can get a brand new installation delivered live every Tuesday morning. Just go to tut.com and look for Infinite Possibilities membership. I'll see you on the next podcast drop.